and you'll be able to learn more about all the great ways that Kelly can support you as a coach. So this is the cool stuff that is available. Here it is again at coachinghangout.com. You can be watching me live right here at the moment. This is the link to get into the Positive Women Rock site to learn more about Kelly. So those are some great pieces of information for you. And Kelly is here. And I'm going to go back off screen here. Hi, Kelly.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
I hear you fantastic.
Okay, great.
All right, there you are, your smiling face. Excellent. Welcome, and I was just showing everybody the link to your Positive Women Rock site off of coachinghangout.com, so anybody who wants to learn more about you can go here to coachinghangout.com and just click on the button here to take them to Positive Women Rock and more information about your coaching program. So I wanted to make sure everybody had that link available. So we are happy you are here, and we are going to go get started. I'm not sure how many people we have viewing. That's kind of the adventure part of this, is that we never really know how many people are viewing. It's just you and me on the actual live Hangout today, but anybody can be watching this either live from coachinghangout.com or from Google+, or from YouTube, or they'll be able to watch the recording of this on my YouTube channel, and then, of course, you can liberate it from my YouTube channel and put it on yours as well.
Okay, great.
So are you ready to get started and let people know a little bit about who you are and all the great information you got out there?
Yes, I am just putting my lower third on, and that should be showing up.
Excellent. Yeah, make sure that we can, make sure you got, there we go. I was going to say, make sure you have your URL there, but you are a step ahead of me, and I am not surprised. Fabulous. I am thrilled today. Oh, they're still doing construction, aren't they?
Yes, I can close my window real quick.
It's fine. I just heard a little bit of noise, but it's not overwhelming. We can clearly hear you without any problems. So
okay, good. We'll see how my noise canceling microphone works.
Okay. No, it works really well. I'm barely hearing it. I hear it as a really faint noise in the background.
Oh, they're going to get worse. Hold on just a second. Be right back.
Okay.
Okay.
Excellent.
4 months of that. They're almost done.
I'm not sure how you're surviving it, but I'm thrilled that you're going to have a really, really beautiful place once it's all done, hopefully.
Yes.
So, good. Welcome once again, everybody. I am thrilled to have with me Coach Kelly Rudolph, one of my friends and a fabulous coach that I get to interact with on a regular basis. With us today, she's going to talk a little bit about herself, her coaching program, let us know what Positive Women Rock is and how it can help you. Now, so this wasn't one of the questions that we talked about, but I'm going to have to throw it out there. So, is Positive Women Rock just for women?
It is mainly for women. Yes, I do have some men come through it to be coached, and if their self-esteem is that high, then they can certainly handle my coaching.
Excellent. So you've got to be a strong man in order to even qualify for possibly having your coaching.
Yes.
That's good to hear. And I love it. I love it that you are willing to really define your niche and say that I want to work with women. I know I can help women. So I applaud that, and I think that's an important lesson, especially for a lot of coaches who try to be everything for everybody. You've realized that that's not the key. The key is to know what your strengths and talents are and who you can best help, and then reach out to them. So I love that.
Right, and that was a tough one too, but I'm uniquely qualified to coach women, and that's what we learned, so I'm going to coach women. And of course, a lot of men can learn great things from the same things that we talk about and that I coach on, so if they're willing to come through Positive Women Rock for coaching, I'm happy to coach them.
Fabulous. I love to hear that. So can you tell me a little bit, Kelly, on how did you first kind of get started in the world of coaching and with coaching?
Well, I realized I had been doing it for many years all of a sudden when I was contracted with the same company you currently work with as well, Sean, for internet coaching. I realized I had been coaching people for 12 years before that on personal safety and self-defense because I was a speaker and stage trainer and things like that for 12 years. And I was always coaching, it went into coaching as far as personal safety, staying safe, what to do to avoid dangerous situations, what to do when you get in them, things like that. And then I became fortunate enough to contract with a company that works with coaching people on internet marketing and building an online business. And I knew that was it. The first event I went to, the first day, I just read it in my journal. I have one of those journals where you write and you see what you did all the years previously on that same day. And I saw it, it went by the other day in my journal where it was the first day. And I said, this is my calling. So I love coaching. And so as I'm doing this also as a contract coach, I also wanted to have my own business move more into coaching and less in the personal safety and self-defense, because that's who I was, and who I'm becoming is someone who really can empower women primarily in more of an energy area, more spiritual energy, things like that, because energy has so much to do with everything we do and the results that we get.
That's great, and I'm thrilled with the fact that you found like that going to an event in service is kind of what triggered you to really realize this is kind of what you wanted to be doing.
Yes.
I think that's a great. It's another one of those great lessons out there that I think people can learn is that sometimes that you'll find your passion best when you're actually in service to others, and that's what will trigger that opportunity. So I think that's important for people to realize and not get caught up if they don't know what their passion is yet, but to just keep giving back to others, and eventually everything will fall into place.
I agree. And one of the questions we ask people in coaching is, when do you feel your best? And I always felt my best after speaking to a group and seeing that I had actually been able to inspire some change in their life. And so coaching has so much to do with that. It's just great.
Good. I'm glad. I know you're unbelievably talented as a coach. I've seen your coaching, and I've had interaction with some of the clients and the players that you coach, and I know how amazing you are.
Oh, thank you.
What do you like best about being a coach?
I like seeing the progress people make. I like assisting them in clarity and their vision of them being successful in the future at whatever I'm coaching them on. And I find that those things are missing from most people's lives, the vision of actually being successful at something in the future, and clarifying and simplifying and offering them a different perspective. And that right there, perspective coaching and clarity coaching, are two of my specialties, because I can very, very quickly, within a matter of just a few minutes, sometimes 3 or 4 minutes, really adjust or assist someone else in adjusting their focus from a different direction, changing that perspective. And that is a whole new picture. And it's just amazing how powerful that is.
Yeah, it is. That's one of the reasons why I love coaching as well, is that you can see the results of your efforts with another person and really see them grow and change.
Mm-hmm.
But I know one of the things that the reason people either look for coaching or may not even realize they need coaching, but start to realize they need coaching, sometimes they are hesitant to do that. And I'm curious what you think some of the things that keep people from getting the results they want are in their lives, their business, relationships, any of that.
Yeah. I find that most people don't have a clear picture of what they want, of course. I mean, we often talk about the reason we don't get what we want is because we don't know what we want or know how to clearly ask for it and expect it and allow it. A lot of people ask for things, or they may pray, or they may intend things, but they never actually get to the point where they feel deserving of them to actually allow it to take place. So they are their own stumbling block. And to remove that stumbling block or show them that it's there, catch their blind spot for them, that's really, really powerful for them, because usually we're in our own way. It's not anyone else, it's us, that's in our own way. So it's really important to have someone to just say, hey, have you looked at this, lately or something, or have you looked from this perspective? And then you see, you have a vision of the future, and you're envisioning yourself being successful. People have visions of the future. They often visualize themselves, still in debt, or still at the same old job they hate, still maybe with the same spouse that they're not happy with. And instead of visualizing themselves with more success in those areas, they just see the same thing for years to come, and then they're wondering why they can't get out of it.
Yeah, it's amazing how true it is that what we see, what we think, is what we end up manifesting into our lives.
Very true.
And that's why I love the name of your site, that Positive Women Rock. It's the idea of keeping that positive attitude and that positive mentality going, and coming from that place of being positive instead of hoping someday to get there, but really acknowledging that it's important to stay positive as a centerpiece of everything you're doing. So I really wanted to acknowledge that and think it's a perfect example of how this is beneficial and important.
Thank you. One of the other things I notice, and the reason people don't get where they're going, is because they refuse to take responsibility. And that's a huge part of my coaching. So if people don't want to take responsibility, they either learn to do it very quickly, or I will shift them to another coach, because it's absolutely essential. And usually we're kind of brought up blaming other people, blaming the government, blaming our parents, blaming our brother, blaming our boss or our teacher or whatever. And I don't think most people realize we've been given so many creative faculties that we are cheered on the more we create what we want and assist other people in seeing that they can do the same. So we keep giving over our power to other people by blaming them. And when you're blaming someone else, that means you're powerless. You can't do anything about it to change it. But let's say, for example, someone's in your life that you don't really like, and maybe they're doing icky things, and maybe that's messing you up during the day. But what ultimately got them into your life? Where was the point when you go way back? Where did you accept them into your life? Did you have gut feelings before that? Yes. Did you follow them? No. Is it your fault? Basically, yes. Your responsibility. So you have to be really humble, or you get humble quickly, to take responsibility for everything in your life. And only then can you actually make major changes. So it's really important to be willing to take responsibility. And we can kind of ease into that, but I'm just a huge believer, because that's what has worked for me and everybody I've coached when they start taking responsibility, even for the things that don't seem to be their responsibility. When you take responsibility anyway and put it on you, then you come up with solutions.
Yeah. And I'm guessing that's probably one of the aspects of your coaching program that really helps people to move forward and have success quickly, is that ability to get them to take responsibility. Are there other aspects of your coaching program that really gets people accelerated fast with results quickly?
Well, going back to the clarity, really being clear on who you are, not who you are at your job or who you are in your family, what role you play, but actually who you are at your core, without all the stuff we put on ourselves, without, the people who call us mom or wife or whatever, really who you are, like what you are when all that's taken away. Are you full of light? Are you full of love? Do you feel like you can assist in empowering people? Who are you? Because that's what you'll always have if all that other stuff goes away. And knowing who you actually are, that's your inner power. And the only way we can really make big adjustments to live the life we want and deserve, and believe that we deserve a great life, is to really find that inner power. And that's what mainly the whole point is to get women to acknowledging we already have that inner power. Men do too, but as far as coaching women, we have that inner power, but we're not using it, and we're not acknowledging that we have so much that we can do and so many things that we can make a difference in. We just kind of end up playing the part of a player in somebody else's life, or a character in someone else's play. And so accountability is huge. I really hold people accountable. I am not an easy coach by any stretch of the imagination. Everyone who knows me knows that. I am a very tough coach, and that's why I get results very quickly with the people that I coach.
And I have to say, I think that's also another really important aspect that people sometimes miss when it comes to coaching and looking at coaching, is that idea that people go in looking for a coach who's going to make them feel better instead of making them better. Yeah. And I've had that same experience where I have had less than effective or productive coaching sessions with folks because they're not actually looking to grow or become better. They're just looking for somebody to make them feel okay with who they are at the moment or who they're pretending to be at the moment, because they don't want to risk that challenge of being something bigger than what they're playing into right now.
Right, I agree. And everyone has a story. Some people want to coach so they can vent. They actually pay people so they can vent to them. And
Yeah.
I will listen to a story if it has some solutions or some lessons in it, and it's only once. You know, we don't need to keep telling our stories. I've had clients who didn't want to come to a group session because their brother in another state has cancer. And I let them know, you know what, one of the people on your team also has cancer. She's joining us from her bed in the hospital on her laptop. So I don't want to hear your story because there's always someone with a bigger story than yours, you know, and we all have stories. And although our stories, you know, originally they kind of end up creating who we are, if we keep staying stuck in the story, it just keeps everyone else stuck too. I mean, you can tell the same story over and over. All it does is diminish all the energy and power of all the people you just told your story to. So if it's empowering, if it's a story of success, triumph, survival, something like that that really helps people and helps you to know that you can do anything, that's a good story. But that's more of a triumph or a victory. You know, it's not, probably don't want to even call it a story because stories just keep you stuck in who you were. And I like to coach people who want to be something even better and bigger and make a bigger impact on the world.
Well, and I think I love the way you're using the word story in there, because I think that's right on. I mean, I'm an avid reader, and I read stories to escape. And oftentimes that's been my experience in coaching, is that people are telling their story to escape from what they really need to be doing. And they let the story kind of get them in that place. Go ahead.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
Yep. And as long as they have a story that makes excuses for why they did or didn't do something, you know, they're in their comfort zone, and you're only growing when you're out of your comfort zone. So part of the responsibility of a coach is to, of course, we support, but we also challenge. We have to pull you out of your comfort zone and be there to catch you if you should fall back a little bit. But we're always learning, or we're winning or learning, winning or learning. We're never losing, so we always are moving forward. The words try, the T word we call it, the words try, don't, not, those are unacceptable in my coaching, whether I'm coaching an individual or a group. And I just changing that kind of verbiage that diminishes you and keeps you stuck is enormous. And I've noticed tremendous changes in people for the positive, in the positive direction, because they stopped using the word try. And the people I coach will tell you it drives them nuts for a while, and I let them know this is going to drive you nuts, and I'm perfectly okay with that. And when you stop saying it, then it'll stop bugging you because I'll stop catching you on it. But in the meantime, it will drive you crazy, and they will say things like, well, I didn't get this done, I was trying to do this, I was trying to do that, and then I tried to do this. I'm like, well, why don't you just do it and stop trying? And right before I got on this hangout with you today, I was coaching a client, and she said, well, I couldn't get this done, I was trying to. And I said, well, stop trying, just do it. She goes, okay, I'm going to do it. And she pushed the same button she'd been pushing for 2 days, and it worked. And it's the energy. It's all about energy. And the words, because when we grow up, you know, try means doubt. It means you may not make it. It means you don't have to commit. And it's okay because, oh, well, I tried. I think that's a crock. I think it's a cop-out. And if that's too harsh for people, they're not going to be my client. That's perfectly okay because I'm not looking for the weak ones. I want the strong ones who want to make a difference. Right.
You're not looking to just kind of make somebody feel better. You want somebody. I can tell you're passionate about helping people become their greater selves.
Yes. Yes. And you know, we as coaches are. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
We as coaches are not responsible for their results at all. And it's a challenge with that because we think, wow, what did we do or not do sometimes when they're not making much progress? We're not responsible for their results, but it sure feels good for us to see a lot of progress. And that's our job, is to really, you know, go deep within them or pull out of them whatever we can to assist them in making progress. And then everyone's doing better. And of course, as a coach, you want people saying, wow, I really got a lot of benefit from this coach, Sean, or this coach, Kelly, because then you get to assist other people because the word of mouth alone is tremendous advertisement for you. You're not out there having to sell yourself all the time. Other people are getting benefit from you. So if you're coaching someone who isn't making any progress at all, it's not good for either one of you. Although, yes, you can, I know a lot of coaches out there. I don't know them personally because I don't hang out with people like this, but I know a lot of coaches out there, just like therapists and anyone else, will take people's money and just keep them coming back and just kind of hope they don't get that much better, because then they keep sucking up the money. And that's not how you or I or any of our heart-centered coach friends do things, period. It's not how we live our life. It's not how we encourage others to live their lives, and it's certainly not how we coach.
Yeah, I remember in my previous life when I was in higher education, there was the big joke that my job was to work myself out of a job. Like to empower the students so well that they could run the university, so I didn't need to be employed by the university anymore. And it's the same thing with coaching. Like my job, and it sounds like for you, your job as a coach is to coach so well they don't need coaching anymore.
Right, and they'll refer other people to me who do.
Exactly. They're always there's going to be people who can replace it if you're amazing as a coach.
Sure. And some of the people, I mean, a lot of the people you and I have both coached with the job that we contract with right now that's so super cool and fun. We've gotten so much experience and certified and trained as life coaches in it. A lot of those people have actually gone on to become coaches like we are, and that is amazing. We get to work side by side with them now at these live events, and we see them coaching other people, like we do over the internet and over the phone, and it's tremendous to be able to have raised a new coach and been an inspiration for someone who said, wow, I want to do what you do because you really made a difference in my life. I want to feel that way. I want to make a difference for other people as well. That's the best compliment.
Yeah, well, I completely agree, and I love that you mentioned that we got to be certified coaches and go through training, because on coachinghangout.com we've got that link to Coachville, which is where both you and I were trained with, and it's an amazing program. And so I'm glad you mentioned that, just so people, if they're wondering what is this Coachville, it's the program you and I both went through to enhance our coaching abilities, which is great. So let's say somebody's looking for a coach. They finally realize it's time to step up and ask for help and get some assistance. What are 3 things that people need to look for when they're choosing to hire a coach? What's important in looking for that coach and choosing the right coach?
If you're wanting to have coaching in a certain area of your life, you need to be sure that coach actually does that. Because I could literally coach someone on internet marketing and designing and creating and running an online business because I have experience in that, and that's what I've done. But when you come across someone, just like a virtual assistant or a secretary or a that's probably not the right word anymore, an administrative assistant, if they say they can do it all, then you need to look elsewhere, because nobody can do it all. Now, life coaching, life does intertwingle with everything you do. I mean, if your business isn't going well, it's probably something in your life. It's going to affect the rest of your life, your relationships, family, things like that, and vice versa. So life coaching, what part of life? What part of life do you want help in? I know relationship coaches who are excellent. They know a lot more about relationship coaching than I do, but I can also work with people as far as adjusting their energy so they attract and keep the right kind of a relationship. I can't necessarily tell them the best things to say to a man that a man's going to understand, but I know friends who do coach on that, and so I refer people to them. So you need to find the coach that specializes in what you want coaching on, and then you can go from there. And as with you, trained in Coachville, we make everything a game. And so you can have a game of your career. I mean, I've had people do things like, this person in the cubicle next to me at the job they hate, of course, is driving me nuts. Every single day she says this and that, and she does this and that, and I have them start making little check marks every time she does that. Pretty soon it's a game. How high did she get today on her points? And the more they irritate, you, the higher score they get. And the more you avoid saying something, taking the low road. But now it's a game, and you're keeping score, and it's fun, and you can't wait for them to screw up again or say that irritating thing again, because you get to make another check mark. So you can make ridiculous things, keyword phrase in that area, and you can make that kind of a game too, so it's more fun and not so scary. So you want a coach that can specialize in what you want, and then of course a coach that makes it fun, because you may hate your job. And it may take a while to get out of it, but why not make it fun during the process of getting out of it? That has a lot to do with getting your energy at a correct level so that when you do get something else, it's going to be something you like better. Otherwise, you keep staying stuck, you know. I made a few notes here, so I'm just check them out here.
Of
So that's
course.
one of the main reasons. There's so many things to check out before you get a coach. I just wanted to hit on the top 3 that I like the best. You need to have a really good feeling about the coach, so you need to click with them. Not everyone clicks with me. Like I said, I'm a really tough coach, and that's perfectly fine. They may click with somebody else. You and I have both swapped clients back and forth
Yep.
because, you know, they were going to click with you better than me, click with me better than you, and that's fine. Coaches who really are good coaches know that people are going to maybe switch around a little bit till they find someone they're comfortable with, but that's very, very important. And if your coach deters you from looking around, or a coach says you don't need to check any further, anyone else, run. Because you need to find someone that has the same energy you're looking for, but you also need to know that they're going to push you a little bit out of your comfort zone. If you're totally comfortable with them, you need to go elsewhere. You can't be totally comfortable with them, but you can really like their energy and say, I know this is going to work because I feel like, you know, he or she's going to push me out of my comfort zone a little bit where I can grow, but yet I like their energy. It's okay if they push me. You know, some people, we don't want them pushing us because we don't like where they are, or, you know, maybe we don't want that kind of person pushing us. And then there are other people who can really encourage us and help us to progress and move forward in our lives. And yet we still feel real comfortable with them. We trust them, and that's
Mm-hmm.
very important. So people really need to check out coaches, and it may be the first one you find that you just really like. It may be the 10th one you find that you want to have a little, you know, maybe a check them out session. So like I do an exploratory session. It's not a free coaching session because so many people go from coach to coach to coach getting those. Pretty soon they don't need coaching anymore because they're fixed. So, and they're not really fixed, they're just pacified. So
Yeah.
I do an exploratory session, which is actually 30 minutes. We get to know each other. You know, what do you want coaching on? Is that something I can do? If it's not something I can do, I'm going to shift them to you, Sean, or somebody
Right.
who can do that. You know, I want them to get the most out of coaching, because even that right there, shifting someone, maybe suggesting a different coach for them that might fit better. What's that person going to say later? Yeah, I didn't work with Kelly, but she referred me to this great coach. It was perfect for me. So yeah, go to Kelly. If she's not good for you, she'll tell you, you know. It's like a
Exactly.
mechanic that doesn't rip you off. You know, it's like a mechanic that says, well, you know, I could change this stuff for you, but you really don't need it. All you need is this little bolt, you know, and let's do that. And then if you need something later, come back to me. And you know that person's going to tell you the truth. And so that's
Yeah.
really powerful. And the third thing I think is really important when looking for a coach is, does the coach inspire clarity and energy for results? You want someone who you can really see yourself progressing with the assistance of. Now, we don't help, as we've been as we've been trained, we don't help people. I know that's a big word people use. It's kind of like the T word to me. It's kind of like the H word, because you want to assist people. Helping people tends to get in help from childhood. It ends up being something like try, like, oh well, you know, I'll just get help, meaning someone's either going to do part of it for you or do it for you. And that's not always what help means, but that's what our subconscious thinks it means. So it's kind of a disempowering word sometimes. I don't want to help
Mm-hmm.
someone change their life. I want to inspire them and assist them in you know, the things I have that can assist them in changing their own life. I want them to do it, because we've all been helped by someone, and then someone said, wow, great job. We're like, oh, you know, I didn't do it myself, so and so helped me. And we kind of feel like we kind of pass the credit on to someone else. But if we're actually doing it ourselves with someone's assistance, we can say, yeah, I had this great coach. She kind of showed me what to do and how to do it, kept me accountable, and it worked. And I do feel good. I feel successful at doing it myself with the assistance of someone. It's totally different than helping. And so the coach needs to inspire clarity, because that's huge. If you don't talk to a coach the first time in your exploratory session or first session, whatever it may be, if you don't feel more clear about where you're going and how to get there, go to another coach. Because if they're not inspiring clarity then you're not probably going to get it later. And for us as coaches, it is our responsibility on the first session to assist them in getting some clarity, and, you know, let's simplify this so that we can see clearly the picture we're headed for. Because you can, you know, like one of our mentors, Harv, says, you can, you know, some people shoot for the stars and they don't hit them, but they may, you know, hit something else. If you're shooting for the ceiling, you may hit the couch, but at least you you hit something, you know.
Right. You had
Aiming for
positive movement in
something.
some direction. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And also, we talked about this earlier. Coaches shouldn't just listen to all your stories and let you pay, you know, cha-ching, 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 and you're just talking away. A coach is there to ask you questions, to dig deeper. They're going to gracefully interrupt you. That is okay to do, and guide you a little bit onto the right track, because we may only have 50 minutes with them or 40 minutes with them, with a client, and we really want to guide them to where we're seeing that they need to get to. And so, there's some, you don't just sit there and chat the whole time. I mean, after the session, sometimes with my super duper cool clients I coach, sometimes, and we call them players from Coachville, and that's more fun, but some people don't recognize that quite yet, so I call them clients before we get started. Some of them, we do the coaching session, we really keep that relationship strong, and then because some of this is internet coaching, we run around on Google or Facebook and play with that and learn new things after our session is over. But that's completely after, and it's just it's a fun bonus later if we want. Normally that doesn't happen, but occasionally it can. I just want to make the distinction between a coach and a friend, because a friend, is very different. And yes, you can become friends with your clients or your players, but there's going to be a distinction there between what happens when you're coaching and what happens when you're friends. But we do become friends, with them. You get to know each other so well and you trust each other. So that's cool too. The coach needs to keep a very, very definite boundary there so that we know, where we are at any given time regarding coaching, because you don't always want your friend to ask you these difficult questions and push you. And so if we switch into friend completely, that's not going to help the coaching situation. So if you do become friends with your coach right off the bat, and it doesn't seem so much like coaching, that's when clients start calling, or they feel real comfortable. Let me just call them and ask them a question real quick. Let me just email them. And pretty soon, they don't really want to pay for even coaching anymore. So it destroys the relationship. So a coach needs clarity on their own side too of being a coach. This is a coach. This is friend. I'm being a coach, and if we become friends later, cool, we'll go do some cool stuff outside of that, but I'm not going to coach you during that time.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's a really important point that you're making, is that as a coach, it's really our responsibility to make sure that we uphold our level of professionalism and responsibility. Like, we have a responsibility to the people we're coaching to help them grow and move forward. And if we're not doing things actively in our coaching sessions to get there, because we're allowing you to tell too many stories, or we're becoming too chatty about things that aren't coaching, we're actually failing you as a coach. And that is our moral obligation as coaches, is to really uphold our responsibility to you as a coach.
Right. Absolutely.
So
just because I talked so long on that, let me just reiterate the 3 things people need to look for when hiring a coach. One is that the coach actually can coach on your topic that you want to cover, that you want help on or you want assistance with. And another one is you have a good gut feeling about them, but also that they could challenge you, because that's really important. You need to feel that you could be a little out of your comfort zone with them, but you trust them to take you there. And the other one is, do they inspire clarity and energy for results? If they're just going to be there to listen to your stories, just go whine to somebody else, because that's not what we're for, and that's not what you need to pay for. And of course, you want them to be coaching you, and coaching you to success, not just having you keep coming in so they can suck up the money. Really important.
Yeah. Exactly. I totally agree. Like I said, it's about working yourself out of a job as a coach. Right. So we did get a question that came in from one of our audience members. Tom back in has asked Kelly that he says, I have a few employees and I'm looking for your key strategy to assist in coaching younger employees to be accountable or responsible for their work.
Okay, people work harder for praises than they do for raises. So it's really important to acknowledge when they do well. Not catching them when they do bad stuff. Of course, sometimes that has to be done. But you always acknowledge them and tell them how great they are for doing something well, and bring it up in front of other people too. That is my best strategy. There's probably 50 more, but that is really, really important, because we want to be acknowledged. Everyone wants to be acknowledged, and so bringing it up in a group and saying, I do that on my our team huddles, which is where we get together with a group of people we're coaching, and I'll call them out if they're using the T word too in front of everybody. They know that already, but if a lot of them, they just have these great victories, and one of them who always uses the T word comes to the huddle and she didn't use it the whole night. And I'm like, we're all applauding her. I'm like, oh my gosh, you did so great with your self-talk tonight. You were positive, you were energetic. I mean, you're totally different. What did you do? She goes, I'm just really watching my words. I'm like, that is amazing. I'm so proud of you and excited for you. And she's like, well, I feel a whole lot better. You know, and that kind of shows everyone. And then everyone's cheering her on. Her accountability partner emails me and tells me when they have an accountability meeting, and she only speaks positively instead of negatively, which is what she used to do. And that affects her whole life. So call people out for good stuff and do it in front of everyone else too. Everyone else is going to want that recognition also. Good question, Tom. Thank you.
And I think that's a perfect answer. I totally agree with you on every account, Kelly, that it's if you want to assist your younger employees to be accountable and responsible for the work, you thank them and appreciate them for whatever they do. They may have a task and got 99% of it wrong, but publicly you're still recognizing them for that 1% they did right, and that 99% is a private conversation you can have, but they get that group energy of being seen that they did something well and were thanked for it. And in a company environment, that's going to want other people to get that same praise, so they're going to continue to work positively and do their jobs better because they want to get that praise. So I think you're right on. I love it. Brilliant. We have another question that came in, and what are your thoughts on having multiple coaches at the same time assisting you with different aspects of your life? For example, personal life and business.
If the coach specializes in one and the other one and not in the other one, I think it's fine. The challenge there is when they start conflicting. And if they're, you know, if you have two areas that you want coaching in, you may need two coaches for that. If you get to the fundamentals, like I coach on an energetic level, I mean, I really talk about energy a lot. If another coach is saying, just do it all and just force yourself to do it, and I'm over here saying, I don't want you to force yourself. I want you to get your energy right and then do it, because then the energy going into it is going to make you successful, whereas forcing yourself is going to be a negative obligation. And so if that's the case, if they're very different from each other, there could be a conflict there. However, like Sean and I coach each other as players because we have them out of different groups, and we support the other coach and what they're doing. And then we also offer them some other options. So coaches, when they know you have other coaches in other areas, they should be saying, well, here's a perspective, you know, check this out, see if this works for you. So it's kind of going to be your responsibility to find what works best for you in each of those areas, because, you know, you seriously may need a coach in business who isn't a life coach, and a coach in, you know, life coach who knows nothing about your business. So it is important to have them both, but you need to pick people who are in alignment with you, and that will probably adjust the coaches. You may need to maybe switch one or both, but as long as they're in alignment with what you believe and where you're going, you feel real comfortable with both of them, chances are they're going to have a lot of similarities. You have to remember where you're going and how you feel. So again, here I am, energy coaching. Trust your energy, and if they start conflicting in things with each other and that confuses you, then you want to kind of reevaluate the situation with one or both of them.
And I totally agree with you, Kelly.
That's a really good question. That's a really good, tough question. It's funny, Sean, I'm here talking with you, and it's funny to think, hey, there's other people out there. So thanks, you guys.
Well, and there's two things I want to mention that I thought came up in your response there. One is, you're absolutely, like, I agree that there are times it's appropriate to have more than one coach. Like, I have a trainer. I have a personal trainer who is my physical fitness wellness coach, and then I have a business coach, and then I have an internet marketing coach, because running my business and doing all the behind-the-scenes stuff that I'm not good at, I need a coach on. And I can learn to become a better internet marketer, so I have a coach in that area. Neither of which, they're both physically fit and healthy, but neither of them are qualified to get me physically fit. So I need to have that coach in my fitness stuff. Mm-hmm. The danger of wanting lots of coaches is that shiny penny syndrome of, I want to learn and get good at everything right now. And so you have to know what it is you really want to focus in on right now. Like, I have my trainer, and I have my trainer for 1 month, and he's kicking my butt for 1 month. And then we're revisiting if it's still right for me to have a trainer, if there's something else I need to start working on, because I've learned the techniques I didn't have before. So those are all conversations, but you don't want to take on too many things so that all you're doing is getting coaching and have no time to actually implement or take forward action in any area.
Good point.
The other thing that I really love that you said is, here I am doing energy coaching. And I think that's the sign of a really good coach, is what they coach on is natural for them.
It's who you are. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. So you as an energy coach is appropriate because that's what you do. That's who you are. That's your natural state, is living in the place of best energy and most appropriate energy. So that's another, when you were saying about having the right feel about the coach, if what they're trying to coach you on feels like a stretch for them and feels like it's uncomfortable for them, maybe they're not the right coach for that area.
True.
Yes. I'll go back. Like, my trainer's perfect. He works out twice as often as I do.
There you go.
For his own stuff.
Yeah, it's like picking a real estate agent who doesn't own any property, or picking an investor who doesn't have any investments. I mean, make sure, I met with a life coach that was beginning once, and she wanted to have sessions to practice, and that was great. And I was 45 at the time, and she was 30. And I realized she hadn't lived life. I know she was 30, but she would look in a binder to find the answers to my questions. And I finally said, can I have the binder? Because apparently all my answers are in there. They're not with you. And I felt that she hadn't really lived yet. So she wasn't the right coach for me, but she could be a great coach for someone else. But to me, she hadn't lived life yet. She didn't know anything about the spiritual things that I believe in. And so I wasn't going to be able to talk with her about 75% of my life. I thought, yeah, need a different coach if I'm going to have a life coach.
And I also think it's great. I love what you're just saying there. I found that I'm really good at coaching the things I needed help with, or things that I struggled with in the past. Mm-hmm. And so I love to when I'm working with a coach, I love interviewing and finding out really what did they like. That's great. And if you inherited $3 million and 5 businesses that were up and running, you might not be the right business coach for me, because I'm a startup, or I was a startup. So you've got to find the people who have had the experience and the knowledge and been through what they're going to be coaching you on. So I think that's really important. And I know you've done insane amounts of self-work, especially in the area of energy, which makes you really qualified to help people in the world of energy.
Mm-hmm. And I overcame some really major creepy stuff in the beginning, too. I mean, I survived 2.5 years of domestic violence and rape. I was engaged to a rapist. Before I was 29, there was 2.5 years of domestic violence and rape, which happened to me 3 to 4 times a week for 2.5 years before I could get out of it. And I pretty much figured I was going to lose my life there. So the plan I put together that took 6 months to put into effect, because I couldn't tell anybody, I was doing that because I felt that if I could get out of this, I could help other people or assist other people. I said the H word back then. I could help other people to avoid getting in this situation, because I knew there had to be something I'd missed in order to end up there.
Yeah.
So, I've come through a lot, and I'm really excited about that. I'm really happy that that's part of my background, that I can triumph over things and assist people in changing their perspectives about stuff like that.
And I think that's huge for people who are looking for coaching or looking to hire a coach. It's okay if you've got baggage. That's why you go and you're reaching out for assistance from somebody, because you've got stuff that you've realized you can't do on your own. Right. I mean, I've had a gym membership for 5 months. I didn't go. I have a trainer. I'm showing up because he's going to come knock on my door and drag me up to the gym. So, clearly, I needed that extra push, that extra accountability, that, there's no way I was going to work out today. I woke up, I was tired, I was crabby, I didn't want to do anything, but I still showed up and went to the gym and met with my trainer because, well, I'm paying him, and that's money I've invested, and he's not going to let me get away with it. And he's like, oh, so you're in a bad mood and you don't want to work out today. I'm like, yeah. He's like, great, we're going to make it doubly hard then. So, yeah, exactly, I do too, for that reason. So, but
that sounds like me when someone uses the T word. I'm like, okay, we're gonna. Or someone, when I was teaching self-defense, they'd say, I can't do that. I'm like, oh, you said can't to the wrong person. You'll be here till midnight, but you will do it. And they did. And as soon as they stopped saying they couldn't do things, they could do it. Just like as soon as you stop trying and just do it or just practice, we replace the T word with the P word. It's really powerful. But the P word isn't powerful. The P word is practice. And it's a huge change. I mean, it's a gigantic shift in energy as well as progress. So it's a lot of things like that are very simple to do. Not always easy, like your workouts, but it's simple. The simple thing is, I'm paying the trainer, I'm going to go. Mm-hmm. The easy thing, you get there and you're like, it's not really easy, but it was simple to make the decision to go. So, keep it simple. It doesn't mean it's easy, but it does mean you make progress.
I I mean, I had the time in my calendar, and I used that time productively because I chose to go and do what I said I was going to do.
Right.
So,
Commitment. Just
yep.
like there were like 49 gold medals in the Olympics with the U.S. team. I'm pretty sure they were gold. It could have been just 49 medals, but I think it was 49 gold medals.
I think it was funny.
29
Yeah.
of them were women.
Yeah.
And I mean, what do those people have? You know, they have vision of succeeding, they have total commitment and focus, and they have an award-winning coach. All of them have a coach. It's cool to have a coach. I mean, I know it's kind of a buzzword. Everyone and their brother seems to be a coach, but who's actually trained? You know, we're certified, we're trained very well. We have a ton of experience because of the thing we do with the internet marketers. We have so many people we're coaching on a continuous basis for over a year each, you know, that we get a lot of experience, and it's rapid, kind of rapid fire sometimes coaching, and it's very powerful because we don't have a whole lot of time to invest with them at each appointment. It's like 30 minutes, and we really get to the point and get things moving quickly. And so we're good coaches because we're practiced, we're experienced, we're trained, we're certified. We busted our butts to get where we are. We didn't just hang up a shingle and say I'm going to be a life coach because I have 40 years of life. You know,
Right.
it's much different. So really check out the coach and be sure they're committed to something in their life like you're committed to working out. That's a great example. Great example. You know, pay someone to make you work out and you're going to do it.
Yeah. Exactly. It's the best money from a fitness perspective. Best money I've ever spent.
Great.
So
I'm happy for you. I think you're already in great shape, but you know, what do I know?
Okay, but I feel different for the work I'm putting in, which is great.
And a lot of that's energy, right? Your energy
Yeah.
is, wow, I'm really taking care of myself. I'm getting stronger mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, everything when you're working out. So it's not just the physical thing. I mean, it's completely energetic and affects your whole life in a positive way.
Yeah.
There I go.
And what's amazing is having made that commitment to really push myself energetically in that realm has really kind of opened the door to a lot of other things to come. Like as soon as I made the commitment to not make excuses and not pretend and not, you know, do things part way, and instead said I'm going to make this happen and I'm going to do it full on, that's when a lot of other things and a lot of other doors opened up in my life too, where other opportunities came along that hadn't come along because clearly I wasn't ready to commit to making something happen the way I needed to. As soon as I made a commitment in one area of my life, all those other opportunities came because all of a sudden energetically I told the universe I'm ready to make a commitment to make a change, and all those opportunities for me to be able to do that now have kind of fallen in my lap. So
That's a perfect example. And I part of what I do with women at Positive Women Rock and the Powerful Results Coaching Program, we actually, I know going back in your childhood is a cliche, but it works. It came from somewhere just like stereotypes do. We go back and release emotional wounds that are keeping you stuck today in your life, and relatives that you had an issue with that you released during this session, they start calling you and you haven't heard from them in 15 years. And it's not because it's a coincidence. It's because the energy wall was dropped and now they feel comfortable. It doesn't mean you have to have them in your life, because we also talk a lot about personal boundaries. If they were unhealthy, they may still be. You may want to keep them out of your life. But just noticing that suddenly you open the door and everything happens. You know, you do a little thing with your business that you're kind of scared to do, and you do it anyway, and then suddenly all these big things come because you took the chance and you went out there on that limb and you were committed to it even though it was scary. You're out of your comfort zone, you grew, and now you get rewarded. It's just like, you know, the question about employees and young people, the more the more praise they get for doing something right. Maybe they get the praise for that 1% out of the 100% that they did right. Next time they do 10% right. And it's so exciting, and it's such a high to get recognition from people and really feel that you're acknowledged, because that's what so many people are missing. It drives you. That's why I say people work harder for praises than they do for raises. It really drives you on an energetic level, which means it drives your whole life, not just at work. You go home and you feel great because you did good at work, because people acknowledged you. You know, you may have a talk with a spouse or something and say how great that felt, and then maybe he or she says, wow, you know, and you're really good at this and this and this too. I really appreciate you for that. And you're like, wow, what a day. You know, and it just starts the ball rolling, and you realize who you are and that you need recognition and acceptance from people. And if you kind of let that be known, and you know, as people start giving you that recognition and acceptance, and mainly recognition when you do something good. We don't thank people enough. People just don't thank people enough and tell them what they appreciate about them. And then something happens tragically and they say, oh, I never said this, or I wish I'd said that, or, something like that. Pretend like, well, an example is when you go in a grocery store or a fast food place and you really thank someone. You may see someone who's a little more of a mature age than someone who would actually choose to work there at the time in their life, and just really appreciate them and say, I really, really appreciate your help. Thank you. And they light up like no one has complimented them in months, and it's almost heartbreaking, but you really brought out that light in them, and you feel great when you leave, and they feel great, and they probably say something really nice to someone else, and then they feel great, and it just gets a big ball rolling. But the acknowledgement and appreciation for people is a tremendous power that we have that we really don't use enough, and that's just complimenting people and appreciating them, even the checker in the store who's having a really bad night.
Well, then, you know what? I'm gonna model what you're suggesting, and I want to share with you some of the comments that have come in. One of our viewers said this has been a great interview. It's got lots of rich content. Another one said that your answers that you gave them some clarity, and they now have a good, clear strategy for moving forward.
Cool.
And also that they think that being clear on what you need coaching on and understand your coach's strengths is a great tip. Defining the roles of each coach will help bring clarity. So clearly the information that you're sharing is benefiting those that have been listening and watching. So I appreciate that you've been here, Kelly, and you've done a great job.
Good. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out with us at the Hangout.
Of course, it's been fun. We have one more question that came in. I think this is a great thing to end on before you kind of share how people can get in touch with you. And this last question is, could you repeat the words that you encourage people not to use and what you suggest they replace them with?
Okay, well, not to use is not something I'd say. You avoid the words try, doubt, or try, don't, not, and there's one other really sucky word I'll come up with in a minute. And the reason you don't want to say don't and not, I mean, it's a little bit challenging to use different words for those, but you want to tell people what you do want, what you expect, and what you're going to do. So, like, for example, if I say to someone I'm coaching, what'd you get done this week? So we do this in the team huddles. What are your victories? Well, I don't want to know what you didn't get done. Well, it's because I don't want to know why. Tell me what you did do. We want to celebrate. Tell me what you did do. Oh, I got a fraction of a sentence written. Woohoo! And so, what do you want to do next week? Well, I want to do this and this. What are your intentions? So you always say what you expect from people because they'll give you what you expect. Now, the subconscious reason this works with the D and the N word, don't and not, the subconscious mind is the mind we have without filters. It doesn't even know our own name. It's that deep. And so when we say, don't run in the house, when our moms told us when we were little, don't run in the house, what does your mind picture? The subconscious goes on visual. I can't picture don't run in the house. It pictures the action words, run in the house. So we kept running, and our mom kept saying, don't run in the house. So we kept running, and she thinks we don't get it. Actually, it's mom who didn't get it. We were doing what she was telling our subconscious minds to do, which was run in the house. As soon as we pooped out because we were tired, or she finally said, something different like sit down or please walk in the house or something like that, and we started doing it, then she thought we finally got it. But it's actually her who finally got it. If she did get it, maybe she just said that because she didn't know what else to say. The point is, a subconscious mind does not acknowledge the words don't and not. It does not have any idea what those mean, and it picks up the action. So the more you tell people what you don't want, the more you'll get it. The more you tell them what not to do, the more they'll do it, and you'll wonder why, and it will frustrate the heck out of you. So start telling them what to do. Instead of don't play in the street, stay far away from the street. Then they picture staying far away from the street. That's a kid thing, but that's where all this comes from. So
yeah, I use the same thing. I use the same concept. Like if somebody's trying to lose weight, they're like, I want to lose 15 pounds. Well, what you're getting caught up on is that extra 15 pounds. Instead, I want to weigh 135. And then you're focused on 135, 135, 135, and your body starts to do what it needs to in order to be 135. Mm-hmm. Instead of focusing in on the 15 pounds you need to lose, it's this is where I will be. This is my end goal. So
yep. Yep, you
Perfect.
focus on how you want to be and who you want to become and what you want from other people. And you may take a minute. It's okay. You start kind of pausing before you say things when you adjust your language like this, and that's okay. You take a little bit longer, you adjust your words and you speak it. You're going to speak half as much with twice the effectiveness. And there are
Exactly.
videos. I have videos about this stuff you can watch.
Well, you know what? Perfect segue. That's ideal. Can you tell us a little bit about how people can get in touch with you, what you have available for folks if they want to learn a little bit more about you, what you do with Positive Women Rock, your coaching program, that kind of stuff?
Okay, well, there's a big giant logo on the coachinghangouts.com website right there, and that is one of the programs. Powerful, PWR is Positive Women Rock initials. It just screams power. So positivewomenrock.com is my website. There's also a blog, Positive Women blog, but you can get everywhere from Positive Women Rock. And the programs I offer for coaching are Powerful Results Coaching, which is monthly, twice a month, and then some catch-ups in between. So we're going to have a little bit of coaching each week for a month. And then I also offer a very spiritual, very, very powerful, it's not for everyone. It's for people who are on a spiritual path and want extreme transformation quickly within 90 minutes. That I really screen people for that one because that one's major. And there's that one too called the Dragonfly Process. And so I suggest checking out the exploratory session, and you'll find that on the website under programs. And each program it has a link to the exploratory session. Kind of just tells me what you want to, what you're looking for coaching on and things like that. So if you are interested in seeing if we're a good fit, you get to decide, and I get to decide both if we're a good fit through that exploratory session. And then also you can get in my email community, and you get a weekly Positive Woman tip and my brand new ebook as of day before yesterday that is Women, 5 Mistakes We Make That Give Our Power Away. Has to do with personal boundaries and really determining who we are at the core and things like that. It's powerful. And it's also an audiobook, so you get a free ebook. Audiobook's only 13 pages, take you a few minutes to read. And that is free. And the weekly Positive Woman tips, we kind of keep in touch. There's a fun fan page going on, and also an affiliate program. So you can, if you're interested in promoting this coaching to other people, you can certainly get in the affiliate program. But click on Sean's link there, which is Sean's affiliate link. Click on that one if you want to go to the site, and I'll see you over there.
Fabulous. Thank you, Kelly, for joining us today. I've really appreciated chatting with you. I'm going to, based off of kind of what you've been saying, I'm going to end with what is my absolute favorite quote on the planet. I'm going to quote a 300-year-old green guy named Yoda. And my absolute favorite quote from Yoda is, "Do or do not, there is no try," which I think basically sums up exactly your kind of approach to coaching in life. And I agree with it completely. So, Kelly, thank you so much. I'm so excited that you were able to join us today. I had a lot of fun chatting with you. And thank you, everybody who is watching and giving us feedback and participating. As always, this will show up on YouTube within the next couple hours, and will be on coachinghangout.com for the next week until next week's session. So thanks again, Kelly. It was great having you here.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, everybody. I will see you all same bat time, same bat channel next week at coachinghangout.com. Cheers.